effective management of the player and the relationship. So in terms of our topic today, just briefly on Australia, the Australian market, we're a unique market because we're both an import and an export market with players, a bit like, I suppose, a lot of the West African countries where we export a lot of players to Europe, to Asia, and to America. We have it's unique here because we've got a lot of players who have European backgrounds, so they may have European Union passports, which does make things easier. But then we've got we're very multicultural, so we have a lot of good young African footballers who've migrated here and now are going into Europe and to Asia. So we're quite an interesting market for the player agent. Basically the agent market is quite fluid. We have a lot of agents, but we don't have enough clubs and we don't have enough professional players. So I'll leave it at that. And thank you, Michael.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Yeah, from Warri, Nigeria, Delta State, Nigeria.
All right, good day, everyone. I'm Iseri Ogbemudia. I'm the managing partner, Myron Top Class Sports Outfit. We are sports consultants and also players agents and also club representatives and other sports-related business. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. From Ghana.
Hello. I don't know whether I'm the one my name is Oliver Arthur because I saw another Ghana there, so I thought it was okay. By the way, my name is Oliver Arthur. I'm a player, a match intermediary. I've worked in the industry for the past 10 years. As of now, I have mostly managing Ghanaian and Nigerian players. I think your interest mostly will be the Nigerian aspect, where I have Sodeke Umar, Oji Okonko, and Michael Dogo under my management. Mostly my main market is the Italian market. So you could see that all these Nigerian players I mentioned passed through Italy, Bologna, Roma, before they got to where they play now. So on the Ghanaian players, we have over 25 Ghanaian players under our watch too. So my company's name is Raffealle Legacy Sports, and we mostly have so we mostly work between Ghana and Italy, Ghana and the Italian markets.
Thank you, Hatta. Yeah, we have someone from Italy, Raf.
Morning. I introduce myself. I am Raffealle Rigitano. I am a sport lawyer from Italy. I am a vice president of Italian Association of Agents. Thanks for your invitation in this meeting. Thanks to Michael. It's a very pleasure to tell about this focus. I think the presence of agent with the player is very important, because for me the agent is a second parent and need to be a second father for the player. But now there are other problems that we can tell in this meeting, because the agent is an important presence around the player, but there are the parents, the father and the mother are dangerous for the players, for the club, because for each father, for each mother, the son is the new Ronaldo or the new Maradona. So the work of the player is important for in a match, for the match and for the training.
Thank you, Ralph. Thank you. Now let's go to the north. We have a man from Plateau State, Nigeria.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Barrister Emmanuel Nyabam, co-founder Klapai Orphanage and the managing director Azar Sports Management Company. I have been in sports administration and management for the last 19 years. Thank you. I'm honored to be here. Michael, well done. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, my brother. Yeah, Mr. Andreas will be joining us in the next 30 minutes. He is in the traffic jam in Austria. So he'll be joining us later. To kickstart, let me quickly read the agenda to us all. The conference shall open by 12 with the introduction that has gone. The conference shall proceed as follows. First section. The first section is the introductory part. All the panelists will discuss, will talk about the topic for 2 minutes each. That is the impact of football agent in footballer's career. And we just take us through the topic for 2 minutes each. To start this afternoon, I want to start with a man from Australia, from Melbourne, Peter, for 2 minutes, introductory part.
Thank you, Michael. Basically, in 2 minutes, the impact of the player agent on the player, I would say, is a holistic impact and a life-changing impact in a lot of ways. As I mentioned before, it's about opportunities, it's about the management. What I say the impact of, in essence, of the agent is that the agent is the launching pad for a talented player's career. A very good agent can give that player a trajectory to get to a very good club and from there build their career. So in essence, the impact of the player agent is the launching pad. Now also, the impact of a player agent is, as mentioned this by Raffealle, is as a mentor of the player. Also someone who's identifying always the options, the next opportunity, the next club. So they're actually the facilitator as well. And those impacts are very important. However, as we all know, the player agent, if he's an effective player agent, if he's got connections, it also depends on the player. It's much easier for an agent to have a talented player that's in demand and the clubs are coming to you. But if a player that you need to hustle, as we say, put forward, they're a new player, they're a free player, they're a young player, that makes it a little bit difficult. So the impact an agent has is also affected of how talented the player and in demand from the club. The other things I would say here is, in terms of an agent, it's also, the impact is also what kind of agent they are. Does the player want the day-to-day type agent where everything is talking every day, or do they want the deal type agent where an agent will source a deal and then look for the next deal? Some players want the day-to-day, which is talking to every day to the player, getting their mental, their physical, giving advice, mentoring, or is it just about the deal? Because we do know now that players now are looking more at different agents, whoever can provide the opportunity. So really, for a player, the impact of the player agent also means the relationship. So if there's a long-standing relationship, it can work. But we do know that in this fast industry with a lot of agents, with a lot of opportunities, with players talking to other players, that it's quite a fluid industry, and the impact of the player agent depends on whether there's loyalty both ways. That's the way I sort of see it. In terms of in terms of the agent themselves, it's all about their connections as well, because to be able to impact the player, you need to have the connections. You need to have the clubs, know the technical directors, the coaches. You need to give the right advice. You need to have experience to be able to judge what's the best next opportunity in relation to the player's pathway. So fundamentally, the impact of a player agent is very important in the sense of the pathway of the player, the opportunities of the player, and whether the player is going to progress to a professional level and continue on. So I would say it's the impacts are varied, they're complex, but it also depends on what type of player you're dealing with.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Now let's move to Delta State, where our brother Eddie will be talking to us. In 2 minutes, Eddie, the impact of agents in players' career.
Yeah. Good afternoon, all. The impact of football agents in a footballer's career is something that can never be underestimated, because the football agent, they act as a role model. They make the players visualize their career, the goals. That's what they desire to achieve for the period of their professional career. And also the agent, they make the players to dream big, realistic dreams on how they want their player to their career to move from one stage to another. And also an agent makes the player to believe in themselves and also not to doubt in their ability, the God-given talent that they have. The agents also can impart on it, on that aspect, for them to have more confidence in themselves, that they can achieve anything if they put their mind into it, and also if they are disciplined about it. And also, when we're talking about the impact of football player, the impact of the agent on the football player, it's cuts across a lot of spheres. Talking about the education of the player, talking about the wealth management, because these players, you see them, by the time they sign professional contract, they, by chance opportunity, they have exposure to a lot of money. And if those wealth are not properly managed, at the retirement, you see the same players, they are begging to survive. So the impact also encompasses the wealth management, retirement plan, what they plan to do after their professional career. You know, the lifespan of a professional footballer is just on a rare cases when you see some still playing actively after the age of 30. So it's a very short career, a cycle. So the agent needs to see how he can play along with the player for him to achieve a better life when he has retired. Now, before I round up, I know Peter made mention of it. Whatever impact the agent can play in the life of a footballer depends on the loyalty of that player. Because if the player is not loyal to him, it cannot really impact on him. Because an agent that the player just want, oh, just get me a D and that is all, there is no way that agent can impact on that particular player. So an agent that are building the life of the player from his youth age to when he is a professional and to the retirement, I'm sure if that player gives his trust to that agent, he will have the best of his career. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. Yeah, Raf, over to you.
Okay, sorry. The impact of the career of players depends on many situations, not always related to sport and football. The players of 14-year-old who will become a player, an important player, will have to grow quickly compared to his friend of the same age. At 16, a boy, as a player, who until the day before had only some money from his parents, could manage a millionaire money from the club. This is this is one situation, but this is not only the problem about the young player. A lot of money, however, more than a boy of the same age, also means a lot of pressure from the fans, from the press. Often this pressure is don't allow the young players to focus on this career. The presence of the agent around the player as a second parent, as I told before, is important. But it's important for the opportunity, as I feel before. But is important for the life day by day, because in the player, I tell about I am talking of a player as a young player, because the moment, the most important moment for me is from 14 to 22 or 23 of age of the player, because it's the most important time for the growth of the player. And then in this time, the player will have the presence of the agent every day for the opportunity, for the situation of the player in his team, with the coach, with the other players. We see the player of 20 here, but if I mean myself at 20 here, I were not able to accept the pressures, the situation. So if when I see my player or my client of this age, I think is for me is important to give him my presence for every day. In Italy, the situation is not different from the rest of the world. In Russian time, the parents and the father and the mother have taken and in a situation not very positive, and not very positive role in for their son. They for the careers of the son, because the parents often have not know the knowledge about football, and they would resolve problems of family with the son, with the money, but for a young player, for a player of 20 here, is difficult to resolve the problems of the parents by football for me. So there are many situations. After when I called to introduce my experience, I'll tell about a situation, an experience about with the player of 14 here that now are working in other focus.
Thank you, Ralph.
Is not a player.
Thank you, Ralph. Thank you. Because of our time, let me move to Ghana. Oliver.
Yeah, okay. I think that we have quite a different model as an agency, and our aim, our main vision is to change the narrative, to distinguish ourselves as authority in talent development. We believe that our God-given talent or purpose is to drive and ultimately improve the lives of those we serve and generations after them. Our agency sees that we come in to serve the players, not to take from them, because they have the talent, and we are here to unearth young talent. We never go to the market and follow up on already established or developed talent. We always start with the young talent, and we think our role is to assist this talent, sacrifice for them before we look at the after effects, the rewards that comes from it. We look at the career management of the players in their football in general. I think that agency in this role or this example that our system that we use, so far we use the African way of doing things, family relation. Africa has a way of relation in terms of external relation, and we take all that into consideration. I can tell you that since we started 10, 11 years ago, we have players like Richmond Boachiadom, who played Juventus, Red Star Belgrade, plays in the Champions League, and they stayed with this agency for the past 10 years. We have players like Ifri Akwa, who has played in Torino, Parma, and now in Turkey, and also stayed with the agency for over 10 years, because we believe that it is a matter of family issues. So we see the management as not just our agency and the player, but extending even to their family relation. We also, as an agency, our main role is to negotiate contracts. First, give them the opportunity and negotiate contracts, image rights for them in building on. Also, we have a legal team that we partner with that see to their legal needs as they playing. So the players don't have that pressure on them in anything that they do. It is all led to the agency to handle their legal issues, issues about taxation and financial planning. It's all part of the job that our agency does, even to the extent of wealth management. All my players virtually have accounts that we open where it is only for your future planning. So we try to move money into those accounts for your future planning. We are very strict with discipline. The African player, young player, once they receive just a little money, they sign the contract, then their lifestyle changes. But we are very disciplined as agency that once you work with us, you have to go with our rules. So we maintain strong discipline with managing of the players. Their travel arrangements, the agent's role also to the travel arrangement of the players, even to the extent of vacation planning. We do everything. My background is in tourism and development. That is my background. So I bring that also on board. So we try for their management, we try for their travel arrangements. So in a nutshell, the totality, starting from the basics, bringing up the 16, 17 young players and bringing them up and trying to manage every aspect of their lives. And we try to let them know from the beginning that it is not only about getting a club for you and signing a contract. No, it goes beyond that. It is about managing your career totally, including family. I could tell you that we even manage to the extent of looking at the girlfriends of the players, managing them and making sure everything is, because the pressure doesn't come on the player. So we absorb the pressure and give the players the lead role to be able to play the football. So that is why we are able to manage players to a long while, because a lot of African agents ask me how we are able to do it for that long. And that is our way of going about it.
Thank you, Oliver. When we get to the time where you present, you can tell us all this.
Okay.
Thank you, Oliver.
Okay.
Let's quickly move to Plateau State, Nigeria. Barrister Emmanuel. 2 minutes, sir. Barrister Emmanuel.
Okay, sorry, I just discovered I was muted. Sorry. Am I on now? Am I on?
Yeah.
Okay. So over time,
2 minutes.
my people have a saying. Yes, 2 minutes. My people have a saying: market no they go market. Now people they go market. I've learned to look at the role of an agent in the life of whether it's a coach or a player as that of fatherhood. And as a company, as I has broken down, and as an organization, we've broken down that our processes into two. We create order first and foremost in the lives of the players we work with, and then we give them direction. And we give them direction in 7 folds. We nurture their development, we nurture their capacity, we nurture their image development, we nurture their social development, we nurture their financial development, and their psychological development. Finally, we nurture their post-career development. And it starts from the very beginning. Peter has said a lot here, same as Raffealle and even Oliver and my brother Eddie. We must say that we have a peculiar situation here in Nigeria. Quacks have led the forefront in the industry. So it's made players not even sure what a quality agent should look like. But over time, what I've done is try to make sure that even if a player leaves my stable, he knows that there's somebody who will always be able to take care of his career and his desires. I always tell players that you should always look at the big 5 nations in Europe and against the rest of the world and how they do business. Now, funny enough, a lot of people see big folds of funds going through the big 5 nations. But the truth is, a lot of that fund comes from what I like to call the rest of the world. And if you follow FIFA's Big 5 report, it will astound you that for this present summer, that winter that just passed, most of the deals, 3,122 deals were done across what is called the rest of the world. And it tuned out to $212 million. So it's not small funds that are available, but players need to learn to trust agents who are not just looking for their own. I mean, the recent case of one of our players who is terminating his agent's contract leaves a lot to be desired. It says that we have not understood, or some agents are not understanding why they're in the business. I didn't get into this business because I wanted to make money. I got into the business because I wanted to protect players. As a player, I was trafficked. As a player, I was vilified by an agent who took away almost everything I earned in Egypt. Thank God for club, Ismail, and all the other officials here in Nigeria who helped me. I was able to recover half of my money. So I have always said even when I was working for Laconosenja, I told them clearly, we must protect the player's rights and his life desires. So in the end, it is a holistic proposition for a player to work with an agent. In Nigeria, we have a peculiar situation. Clubs don't even want to work with the agents. So it's a whole gamut of silliness that we're going on. But I'm hoping that there will be change, especially with the Players Union standing strong now. and Football Intermediaries Association in Nigeria, which Michael here was one of those who founded, and Eddie. I hope that in the next few years, we should be able to stand and say, we've made the changes that have made our players have secured careers. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Yeah, let's quickly move on to section 2, whereby
Mr. Michael, sorry.
Yep.
Can I say something, please?
Okay, reaction.
Sorry. I am Timothy Gbenga Daniels. Everybody knows me as Coach Gbenga.
Okay.
I found this program on my friend's Facebook, Akim Busari.
Yes.
That's why I called him. I used to be the vice president of Nigerian Grassroots Football Federation, and he used to be for Julius Berger football commentator, and I'm a football developer in Nigeria before I left. I'm in the UK at the moment. I'm calling from the UK. But quickly, I think from what I saw, I feel that Mr. Arthur can actually help some of Nigerian agents with their modus of operation, because I can see from what he stated there, there's a good plan there, that those plans can help some of our agents. And when the last speaker spoke now, he spoke that most club does not want to deal with agents, which is exactly what I wrote down. And the two European agents that spoke, that is the major problem, because the European agents, they don't investigate about players before they take them. It's not to drop the player, but when you know the character of a player from his local club, then you will be able to know if there is need for this player to go through some mental healing, because you are taking these players from a poverty environment. They just needed something. No, if they know that football is an entertainment industry, they will know that this player, he's got everything, but he needs to know why he wanted to play, including our Nigerian agents. Agents are fond of cutting off. So agents are the third parents. They are not the second parents. The second parents are the local coach that brought these players up. They knew these players very well. And this is where most of this problem comes from. When you cut off these local coaches that impacted so much in these young boys, and you just took the players abroad and you cut them off, there is serious animosity in their heart. They are not even praying for the success of these players, because they are left in a limbo. You took away their best materials and you never gave them anything, which is why I love what Mr. Arthur is doing. If the agents are beginning to work with some of these local coaches in order to know more of the character of these players, their parents don't know them. The local grassroots coaches are the ones that know these players. And once the local grassroots players are getting returns and a better development, then you begin to get better players, because the players are afraid that if I don't do well, there is a relationship between my local coaches and their team with the agents. So the agent must know who they are taking. When they know who they are, not to drop them, because they have already seen their potentials. Now it's now left for them to work on their mental capacity when they take them abroad. Because if you don't work on their mental capacity, these players, they go and they begin to show all manners of character, uncontrollable, because you did not work with the people that knew them very well. That's my contribution.
Thank you, Mr. Timothy. I'm very sure when we get to the reaction section, we have more reactions on the same topic. Thank you once again. Yeah, section 2. Mr. Peter, you have 10 minutes. Let us know from your presentation the benefit of working with an agent. What benefit do you think players will have from working with an agent? 10 minutes, sir.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Michael. First of all, I'll give a little bit of a background of what players we deal with in Australia, because it's a little bit different in Australia to maybe Nigeria or maybe to Italy or Austria or elsewhere. And then I'll talk a little bit about what the agent, what value they give to the player or benefits to the player. But just briefly, Australia players are quite unique in the sense that we send a lot of players overseas. We send them to Europe, we send them to Asia. We're part of the Asian Confederation, so that provides a lot of opportunities, as it did 5-10 years ago for a lot of Australian players who got into the Chinese market, which the Chinese market was quite lucrative up until recently. But the Australian players, if you look back maybe 20 years ago, we had 12, 13 players in the in the EPL, English Premier League, as did Scotland, Ireland, Wales. But if you look now in the English Premier League, only 2-3 Australians and players from all around the world. So the market has grown. The demand for Australian players has dropped off. So as agents, this is a big challenge for us. And just in terms of the Australian player, unlike it was mentioned earlier by some of my colleagues, with some of the African players, most of the Australian players come from middle-class families because it's a user pay system here, where in like America, where you pay to play, and sometimes it's people who can afford to send their sons to train at the elite clubs get the opportunities. The other thing is there's not enough professional opportunities in Australia. We only have 10 professional clubs. Therefore, a lot of players will go overseas. The final things I'll say about players before I move to the benefits of the agent is that because we are, in essence, an affluent society, patience is not here. The players want it now. A lot of players want the big clubs in Europe, want the trial in Europe, want the opportunities they can go to a big Spanish or a academy or club or French, German, doesn't matter, Big Five, or even Holland, which is very popular, to trial, to get a contract. And it's not easy anymore because now it's a worldwide sport. Players are coming from everywhere. It's about ability, talent, etc. It's also very much a chaotic market. And I'll just turn now to the benefits of the agents. The agent market has become chaotic because it's been deregulated to such a degree where a lot more agents have come in because we no longer have the FIFA licenses. What that means is that a lot more people are in the ear of the player. And when you're in the ear of the player is hearing a lot of things from different people and which direction to go, which club to go, what's the best pathway, who you should deal with, who can deliver you the deal, who's got the connection with the coaches, technical directors, etc. And that is the chaotic sort of situations, especially in Australia, that we have. Because there's too many agents, there's a lot of aspirational players, and there's a lack of professional opportunities. So all that puts a tension in the market. Now, the benefits of agents, and that's the topic, but I thought I'd give that background because we need to understand the benefits of the agents don't matter if we don't know the player context, the market context, and what we're dealing with, the dynamics. And just like a lot of the African markets who are exporting a lot of players, that's what Australia is doing, but just from a different angle. So basically, for our business, in my player agent business, we're seen as fixers. We have done a lot of work with players to get them out of difficult situations. And that is pathways, that is work permits, that is clauses in their contracts, that is giving advice of where they can go and where they can't go, basically getting them out of contracts, dealing with a lot of unpaid salaries in terms of Asia, a lot of clubs not paying salaries. So we are known as the fixers. So within the way I work and my partners, at least in the Australian and Asian context, we are known the problem solvers. So we provide solutions, not just in terms of the player pathway, but also very much, we also provide solutions in getting out of issues, because half the problem is not the talent. The talent may get the opportunity. Half the problem is the regulatory, the contracts, the lack of payment, the different culture. And that's where important the agent is. The agent is very important in that regard to be able to solve those solutions, because the player cannot just rely on his talent. He needs to also have advisors like ourselves who are solid, who can deal with all the other issues. And that's very, very important. Especially when now I'm an agent in Australia, I'm a football lawyer as well, but if I want to work in England or work in Italy or France, in Italy and France, I can't work. I need to have a local partner. In England, I can register. In South Africa, I need to register. So now I need to register in different markets. So the agent themselves needs to have a good agent. The benefits of an agent, someone with a good network who has solid partners in different countries. When I had the FIFA license before 2015, it was easy. I had the badge and I could go to any country and they will deal with me direct. However, because of the national system of each federation, you cannot deal in all countries unless you have a solid partner on the ground. Now, in terms of the benefits of an agent, the benefits of the agent is a lot of players are very aspirational. They sometimes believe a lot of things, and maybe when they do go to bigger clubs or bigger countries, they realize how tough it is. So it's about managing expectations. If someone wants trials, for example, right now, budgets are down everywhere. In maybe the big leagues, a few of the big leagues, maybe the budgets won't be down, but in all clubs around the world, budgets are down because of COVID. How do you manage that expectation with the player to say the next contract is going to be less? You need to have that trust and relationship. So the benefit of the agent is to manage expectations of what's coming, because the career is short, as mentioned one of my colleagues before, very short. The career is very, an injury, a change of coach, a lot of factors here. Consequently, you need to manage expectations. And part of the agent, the benefits of an agent is the crisis management. Agents have to be good at crisis management. From a psychological point of view, if the player is down, from problems that arise within the clubs, payments, the coach doesn't like you, there's too many players, I have a regulatory problem here because they won't give me a work permit, all these issues. So the benefit of the agent is to problem solve as well as mentor. So you have the psychological and then you have the practical. You need the both. So that is a very, very important point. The agent also has to, I mentioned this earlier, have a network, have people on the ground. We can't be everywhere. It's an international business. Australia is an export market, just like a lot of the African markets, Ghana, Nigeria. Who do we have over there? We need to have those people in place, because when you're dealing with overseas countries, it's different cultures. You maybe don't know the coaches, you maybe don't know the football directors. So you need to have those relationships. You need to also read the market. The benefit of an agent, they read the market and they read the play. What do we mean by read the market and read the play? Where does your player go? What style of game is he at that stage, or she, should I say, because Australia, we export a lot of women footballers and we're hosting the Women's World Cup in 2023. Which countries are they suited to in Asia or in Europe? You need to guide those players and give them those opportunities. So advice is very important in terms of the pathway. Which market they go, because they may not be suited to all the markets. Each player is different. Each player's temperament is different. So you need to read the market, a good market for a player to go. For instance, a lot of good young players come through Portugal, or a market where they maybe want to go to the Premier League, but they may need a year or two in some other league before they go there. So you need to read the player's potential and the player at that time. the important thing about the benefits of an agent is experience as well. We're learning as well. As we do deals, every deal we do, if we've done deals for 5 years, 10 years, we're learning new things about markets and about players. And I will say now that players right now, good players, are very impatient. They want it now, they want it quickly. And we need to manage that, and having experience and giving examples of other players you've dealt with, you're able to manage those expectations and manage the career better. Because there's so many agents, because there's so many players, loyalty is not as strong as it was 5, 10 years ago. I'm not going to say it's a generational thing. I will say it's just market right now, because there are a lot of the budgets are down. There's a lot of professional footballers who aren't employed. There's a lot of not that many opportunities. So this brings it all together. What I will also say about it's important. The benefits of the agent is that the player relies on them for the expertise and the ability to handle crucial negotiations. So the player's not going to negotiate a lot of the finer details of the deal, or not even the final contract. Consequently, it's the reliance on the agents is enormous in that regard, and the agents brings that expertise, knows the market rates. Right now, as I mentioned, the budgets are lower in clubs, so we need to manage that. But the agent, from their understanding, from their previous deals, from their integrity, their transparency, their honesty to the player, their honesty to the parents, brings that all together and brings that expertise to manage the deal. I think it was mentioned earlier about parents. Probably the same thing in Nigeria or Ghana as we've got here, maybe Italy as well, Australia as well. Parents very, very demanding these days because they invest a lot in their kids. As I mentioned, in Australia, we're a middle-class country generally. So parents have paid a lot of money to get their son or daughter to a certain level. And if you don't have a pathway to deliver something, then they can get very difficult. So your relationship with the parents is fundamentally very important, as it is with the player. Just a few more minutes and I'll finish off here. The important thing is the benefits of the agent comes down to also the relationship with the clubs and the technical directors, because as we know, clubs and technical directors and coaches prefer working with certain agents. Let's be frank about that. So it's about relationship building. It's about, and to open doors for players, you need to have those relationships to identify the options, the opportunities, and to present your player and push your player, because that's what we do. I mentioned earlier, if you've got the players that, the top five league clubs in the world, that's easy. But all the other players, you need to push, you need to hustle. And that takes a lot of work and that takes a lot of relationship building. The final point I'll make is about when a player does make it, the agent's benefits is also about the taxation advice and getting that expertise, getting that team around the player, image rights, commercial deals. Social media is a big one. Clubs have certain rules. We need to ensure that our players deal with social media in a way that don't puts them in breach of league or club regulations. Because as we know, social media increases a player's profile. Basically, that's what's the summary I will give. Sorry, I try to cover a lot of ground in 10 minutes, but I wanted to put there. The final thing I will say is the player's always got to have to ask, how knowledgeable is the agent? And the knowledge we bring is the benefit we bring. And that's very important. And the network we bring is the benefit we bring as well. And the final point, the trust, honesty, and integrity that we bring will give the player the best service, the best advice, and the best opportunity for a career. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Yeah, it's such a wonderful presentation in due time. Now, because of our time, let's quickly move to the second presentation by our man from Delta State, Nigeria, Mr. Eddie. 10 minutes, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have a very voluminous presentation, but in line with my allocated time, I will try to summarize it. Now, we're talking about the impact of an agent on the career of a footballer. Basically, Peter has actually mentioned a lot of things I intended to speak about. I'm glad at least he has helped me a lot. One of the basic facts of an agent, as he stands as an intermediary, that is, intermediate between the player, a stand that is representative. It projects the interest of the player. So it is expected that that agent will have a very strong, is a strong seller, is a very good in negotiation, is someone that knows what a prospective club wants. And also it makes the player special. You know, you make the footballer special, and that is who you project to others. Maybe if you are projecting a player, you presenting that this is the best commodity that is available at the moment. Also, we talk about wealth management. I'm just trying to just hit them by the name. Wealth management is very key. You know, the life of and the career, the life cycle of a professional footballer is very, very short. And it's very important to have a good financial plan. I'm emphasizing on this because I have had opportunity to meet a lot of ex-professional footballers, and they will I say bankrupt, they're begging to survive, and these are some persons that earn some thousands of dollars over the period when they were active. And it's very key that the agent, you need to liaise with the player and see how you can manage his wealth very well. Talking about the personal income, you know, it's not about the amount a player earns. A player can be earning about $2 million annually. And if his expenses is about $1.8 million annually, meaning he just have about $200,000 to save. With that, he cannot live the lifestyle he's living. So you need to specify for the player that it's important for you to save for the rainy days. For example, if you are earning, let's say, $2 million annually, at least 50% of that should go to some saving. You forgot about some luxury. Then we're talking about passive income. There are investments you need to advise the player to invest his funds in, whereby he can be playing actively while his money is also earning some extra income for him. Also, we need to educate the footballer the importance of education. The importance of education can never be underestimated. You need to educate them regularly to be updated of the current things that is happening around them. And also the agent also, you that is trying to impart on a footballer, you need to also lead by example. You need to also be grounded with information. You need to be a step ahead of your competitors as it relates to the career of the footballer, because now the footballer takes you as a mentor. It takes you as someone that is very, very knowledgeable. So you need to be acquainted with the regulation, FIFA regulation, RSTP, and all other stuff that is very, very important for the player. Now, I mentioned some education. No, the average, for example, the Africa where I am, over time, the statistics that was posted some time ago, some professional footballers in the Nigeria Professional League, that is top tier, over 60% are not educated, because by the time they don't know that they have this talent in football, they forgot about school. So it's very important that one of the impact an agent need to make on a player is to at least give him an advice to get some educational training, maybe so that he will be fast. For example, a document is presented to him, he will be able to at least assimilate what is written down. Also, we're talking about the player's image, talking about marketing, social media, which Peter mentioned. One other aspect that can actually endear the player to his fans and supporters is charity work. Like, for instance, my firm represents the image rights of Etebo Genekaro, Nigeria Super Eagles players. And our firm set up a foundation for him, Etebo Foundation. We've done a lot of things over the years. But over some time now, he has refused to fund the foundation, which we let it die a natural death, because as a firm, we cannot be funding the foundation that promotes the image of the player, where we have set up machinery to see how he can even be funding it from his tax rebate, but somehow he has not really responded as we expected. So for now, you need to also impact on some charity work for the player. Also, we need to act professionally. Some agents, as some of the speakers have said, they've actually acted wrongly that made players stay away from them, that is disloyal to them and betray them. You need to be professional to the core. The agent needs to be professional to the core, and also to be fast in research, because you'll be making, or you'll be guiding the footballer in making key decision, either short-term, medium, or long-term decision. So it's very, very important for you to be very up to date. Now, let me give an instance. Now, for example, if you are negotiating for a young footballer, maybe about 16 to 19 years, and a player that you know that is so talented, and a club is now offering you that, oh, this player, bring it to my club, and I will pay you XYZ agent commission. And you know that playing time is not guaranteed for that player. And another club is saying, okay, bring this player to my club, so we are not financially buoyant for payment of XYZ commission for you as an agent, but we can guarantee to you that this your boy will be in our first team. Now, what you have to know is that because of the money involved, a player wants to go and earn $20,000 somewhere. Hello.
Yeah.
I think I was lost, sorry. No, as I was saying, for example, if you are approached as an agent who is managing a young player, and maybe the chairman of the club offer you XYZ, maybe let me just say $1 million agent commission for you to bring a player, and you know for sure that that player will not have playing time, and another club is telling you, okay, bring this player, we don't have agent fee, but we have time to give to that your client. It's very important for you to take that chance where the player will have opportunity to play, because it's only that opportunity that is where you can even earn more quadruple of what that other club is offering you. Because we are not in this business to project ourselves. We represent the interests of footballers. Now, when you have the opportunity to say, okay, this is what I want, but whatever thing that will come, it should be to the progression of these players. Let's give him more playing time. By the time he plays, and he's a talented footballer, I assure you, whatever that the other club are proposing for you as commission, you can actually earn it later from other means. Now, as I just round up, because my time is just about 2 minutes, I want to give a scenario. Now, for example, I represent one of the top Nigerian football player, Joseph Osadia in Nigeria, and during the last transfer window, we actually had some inquiry for him. I know some club made some inquiry and some made some huge offer. But I discussed with him, what is your ambition? This is the offer we have on the table. He told me that his ambition is to play with a particular coach. I have to align with him, even though I know that him going for that particular club, I will not earn anything. I align with him, though unfortunately at the end of the season he regretted that decision. But it's on record that I've actually guided him to do what, to take the right decision, which he turned down. So what you have to understand is that the players, the ambition may be okay, but they are not always in the right frame of mind to make the right decision. So psychologically, we still need to be a role model to them, to psych them and also let them know that some decision they take not only affect them instantly, but it can affect their career for a long time. Just like Peter said, we need to decide, okay, at this particular age, when the player is 19, 18, 20, this is the particular club or this is the country I want him to play. When he's 23, when he's 24, when he's 25. So at that age, the career of the player is actually planned out. And over time, you will see that when retirement comes with the wealth management I mentioned, everything will be in place. Now, lastly, it's very important to get certified professionals around your player. You cannot do everything. Just as Peter mentioned, you don't know the tax laws in your countries or even the country of the player. So you need to get tax lawyers and other very important key stakeholders, sports lawyer and other key stakeholders around the footballer that are making a better person. We're talking about image right now. A player needs to have professional managing his image that can actually in turn bring about commercial endorsement that will bring about some passive income I mentioned earlier. I just want to round up here because my time is up. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Hedy. It's a wonderful presentation. Let me bring to our notice that after the Totti, a player, acting footballer from Ghana, after his presentation, we are going to have a 5-minute break to get reaction from the audience. Now let's move to Italy. Raf, over to you, 10 minutes. I want to oblige us to keep to time, please.
Oh, I will talk less than 10 minutes. And yeah, because is very interesting the meeting today, because there are the experiences of the colleagues in the world. There is the same situation, the growth of the job of the agent. The agents now have a much more important role for club too, for the players, but for club too. The sport directors of a team now don't deal with the transfer market. Now the transfer market, for the transfer market work, the agent and the CEO or the president of the team, because the role of the agent has grown a lot, but as a grow the situation, the players too, the demands of the players and the club have also grown. For a moment, regards the benefits of the agent, I would talk about a situation of a regulation of FIFA regulation, in which the agent, for the agent, is forbidden to have compensation in the negotiation relating the minor of players. For the players of 16, from 16 to 18 years, for the agent can work for this player, but is impossible to earn for this negotiation. This is an aspect that I believe must have changed. Because it's impossible that an agent doesn't. I feel another colleague because.
Let me get one for you.
No, Raf, go on, please.
Okay, and I repeat, I believe must have changed this aspect of a regulation, because it's impossible that an agent does not have to earn for his job, and is an aspect important. And in Europe, we are working with our association to talk with FIFA for this aspect, but I don't know why the federation don't want to change this regulation. About the benefits and the situation between the agent and the player. The the players are more educated and they know how to read documents and contracts. The preparation of agent today must be more careful. The agent must support the player with a lawyer and with a man that know about tax agents. We will have to answer the questions of the player and with the club too. The player until few years ago only seen the contract and totally present him totally to the agent. Today is different. Internet has contributed to the growth of the culture of the players, and the agent will have to adapt it. For this reason, I think the meeting as this meeting are important for agent, and because it is important for me that the agent in work can talk about the situation every month. Because the situation is changing in this time, and if I work in Italy and but I would work in other country, is important for me to know the situation in this country. Now and I conclude my presence, and now I think that the job of agent is a job more important than 5 or than 10 years ago, and is important for us to study the situation in the world, and to study to know the situation of the colleagues, and to talk in meeting with this, because is important for us to know the situation, the same situation in the world. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ralph. It's a wonderful presentation too. And you've been time conscious too. I must appreciate that. Yeah, let's hear from a player. Totti is a player, he's a Ghanaian footballer. So let's hear from him too, the importance of working with an agent as a player. Totti, you have 10 minutes.
Okay, hello, good day to everyone. My name is Totti Lai Francis, and Division 1 player, and I'm also a personal trainer. And moreover, thanks once again to Agent Michael for giving me this offer. Yeah, moreover, I don't have much to say, but the little I have to say is I just listened to your conversation, and I'm very proud of it. But my suggestion is, a lot of people in Africa, and we are from poor home. Africa, a lot of the footballers are from poor homes, and moreover, when trying to work or link with an agent, some of the agents are not loyal to us, because you could see some of us traveling. Maybe the agent will say, "I'll give you good offer." The player will travel, but nothing. Even he will travel, reach the airport, nothing is going on. And moreover too, we the young ones we put ourselves at times in a corner where that corner is very tight, because everyone wants to travel. I hope you understand me. Everyone wants to travel, because in football, if you are dealing with an agent, you need to deal with an agent very well, because you need to be sure if the agent is trusted before dealing with him. Because me, for instance, if I want to deal with an agent, I need to be sure. I can't just sign a mandate or agreement with the agent. Because at times when you tell a young player, oh, I have a move in Macedonia, I have a move in Belgium, but second division, they will offer you $500 or $1,000. What the player needed to do is, okay, I'll go. Then you can say later on the player have locked up over there. Because a lot of the agents who are very good, they are willing to help us, but the more important thing is that the agent need to work with the youth, and moreover too, at times you could see one player moving from another club to another club. That's one also don't help, because I've been to South Korea and I've seen a lot of players who are struggling over there. And what I would need to tell you guys is, football is not easy in Africa, because, for instance, me personally, I'm also struggling to play outside. Same time, I'm also a professional player, but I've traveled and I've learned a lot of experience from there. Because in my country, Ghana here, now the football have turned to politics. In Ghana, the football have turned to politics, because you are even the chairman is the chairman can say you are very good than the player playing, but you need to pay some protocol, and maybe you are very talented, hardworking, but to take off, you don't have the money, you are not able to fix over there. So you just say, oh, I'm not going to play Ghanaian league again. I'm just trying to prepare myself and travel to abroad and go and play over there. And these kind of things, it used to block our shine. It used to block our shine, because football playing is not easy. At times, when you are playing football, even your family, they used to reject you. So if an agent is trying to work with you, or an agent is trying to help you, they should be loyal to us, because at times you could see an agent will come and pick an African player later, 1 or 2 years later, then because of the percentage, and it will become a problem. So the agent needs to be very careful if helping another player from Africa. And moreover to what I have to say is, my problem is based on the agent and the offense, because we need a very good offense for the players. The agent, you need to give us very good offense. No, not just 6 months offense. No, if you are trying to work with us, you need to give us good offense. And when we try to go to Europe or Asia too, you could see we used to play the ball. We are very good in hard working, but at times too, when we are playing, what they need to do is you are in Africa, and they used to call us name, and that is not good at all. Because for me, I'm a footballer, and I'm also speaking for my fellow footballers also. So this is the short thing I need to tell. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Totti. Before we move to the reactions segment, let me call on Barrister Emmanuel to respond to Totti's situation.
Totti, first and foremost, you and many players have dealt with quack agents, and I must apologize to you on behalf of, especially us African agents, for your experiences. But first and foremost, you need to understand this. If somebody is sending you out to a club side, you should be getting a invitation from that club. Okay, so the first thing you're looking out for is, if somebody is telling you you're traveling, is the invitation letter. Once you get your invitation letter, because the quacks, and you can quote me anywhere, they are quacks, they are criminals, they are scammers. That's what they are. They have no deals for players. They're just scamming you. Okay, so what they're doing to you is this: they give you an invitation letter, usually with a very short-term date, which puts you under pressure. And then they tell you need to give them certain other documents. They will scam you and collect some more money. And then they put you on a plane, get you to that country, and there is nobody there. In fact, you have a DOD document. So here's my advice to you. I know that Ghana FA is quite organized, as well as the man in charge of the TSM in Nigeria, Nasiru Jibril, is quite good and organized at what he's doing. So if you have a problem, Nasiru will take your call. Even if he doesn't take your call, if you get it, if you want, I'm sure Michael and others will be able to give you that information. I'll speak to Larry, and I think our brother here, Oliver, can also give you that information with regards to your own country. But here's the facts. Once you get an invitation letter, you are supposed to ordinarily let your state, your local federation or association know that you've gotten this. They will confirm if that is a DOD document, because fraudsters now even organize up to the phone calls. You make a call on the listed number on that, and you find out you're still talking to the crooks. So I am someone who has fallen into that trap before, and I understand how you feel. I'm a lawyer, and I'm pained when I see these things happen. So over time, like Peter said, I have become a fixer. If Mansour is talking, Coach Mansour is here, we got together because I needed to fix a situation for him. And for more than 6 years, we've worked together. He's come back to me. I've drafted documents for him. He's done a lot more business. He's right now not even coaching a team in Nigeria because there's a lot of fraudulent people involved in African football. We have a peculiar situation. We've allowed our football to be overtaken by quacks. And so they dictate a lot of this drama. Again, once you have an invitation letter from any club, once you get there, if you're supposed to even ordinarily travel with your agent, I find it very uncomfortable when a player travels on his own. If you go with your agent, first and foremost, FIFA has changed the rules, and they need to understand that they've made a big mistake. Quote me anywhere. FIFA was wrong. The FIFA agency system was working. They've now allowed all sorts of people to come into it. We have intermediaries. I worked for an agent, and the FIFA laws the former laws allowed you to have at least 5 people under one license. Now we have everybody running around and just scheming for their pockets, not for the players. For me, I've said it earlier on, I'm not in this for the money. I'm in it to protect young players because I needed somebody to protect me at a time in my life. I'm an anti-human trafficking activist, and everything you have said so far points to one thing: you've been dealing with quacks. To save you from these quacks, if you get it, I recommend to you, Oliver, who is in your country, okay? Go to him. You don't even have to pay him at this time because he's obviously set up a system that he doesn't need your money, but he can help you grow in the industry. I'm not sure how old you are. I'm also looking at the fact that you're a trainer, which means you can do a lot more in football. The sports medicine is improving, and FIFA has just opened that genre. So you don't have to play football. I don't force players to play. But if you want to play, while playing, you can also improve so that you're coming back and giving something to Africa. Okay? So don't be discouraged. With Apostle Michael and Oliver and even Eddie and myself, we're going to look at what we can do for you. Again, I find that a lot of videos we send out from Africa are jokes. So I don't like to send out videos. I'm not one for videos. If
Thank you, Yes. Because of our time, okay, I can see Icaro with his hand up. Icaro, a quick reaction from your side.
Hello.
Yeah, you are on.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Michael, thanks again for this opportunity. It's been another learning process. So what I want to say is a coach, somebody called in from UK, and he said, hello, can you hear me?
Clearly.
Yeah, somebody called in from UK, and he said his own observation was the local coaches that groomed the players were not being taken care of. Agents, they come, they take their good talent to Europe, and they abandon this coaching. But I want to make a point clear about what he said. This is this relates back to the FIFA transfer mechanism, which we all know about. If all local clubs, all amateur clubs can get themselves registered in the FIFA transfer mechanism, and I don't think any local coaches or club can miss out if their talent are being taken abroad to greener pasture. So that's my own contribution. And aside that, it has been an educative session once again. I've learned a lot today. I give thanks to everybody, most especially Mr. Michael. Kudos to you. Big up, bro.
Thank you, my brother.
Michael, please.
Mr. Timothy.
Yes, please. Yeah, number one, I have about 4 points I put there. Number one, quickly, I believe that local clubs can register from the point that man has made out there. But do they have to register before being taken care of? Haven't nurtured players from the underage to that level that people have to pick them up? Do they need to be registered before the club is being compensated? This is what I struggle with, and a big fight before I left Nigeria 20 years ago. So please, it is the agents that need to already put that in their mind. Number two, I think it would be very great if Peter from Australia, Arthur from Ghana, Eddie from Nigeria, and Barrister Nyam, if they can compare notes, I believe they would be great team to work, because there are things that they have said, and I feel that if they can compare notes and they can now work together and put things in order, everyone has things that others do not have. They will be able to build up a very good network. And going to that network, I feel it is critical to build that network. Then two, there is need for player seminar, because we are carrying out players now, not footballers anymore. There is need to know why a player wants to play football. Once they don't know, because every player is like an apple tree. An apple tree cannot eat the apple on top of the tree. The apple needs to be ripe. Is it ripe enough in terms of character? Is it ripe enough in terms of producing the juice that will make the passerby, which are the agent, the management, football agents, is it ripe enough to be plucked? Or is it the kind of apple that will have to fall down, people run away from it? Because talent can take you there, but it is very important that your character stick you there. And many players are fond of not wanting to play in the local league. Once you miss that contact, you may not be able to do well outside, because it's very good for you to have that local contact league and partake in it, even though there's no enough money there. But you are going through some certain rudiments that is needed. Lastly, Mr. Eddie that said is set up a foundation for that player. I feel most of these players, so many times they back out of these things. It would have been great if this player went through you and you are able to meet the agent and they put these things in the clause. He wouldn't be able to back out, because the money is coming directly from that thing that he's doing, because this is an individual person. He can decide to do and undo. But if this thing is from behind, if you do something on behalf of a player, he's just doing it from his own pocket, and he can decide to back out anytime, because they mingle with a lot of people who try to persuade them and sway them away from what is good for their lives. Thank you very much. That's my contribution.
Thank you, Timothy. Peter, do you have anything to say before I call on Eddie?
Thank you, Michael. No, I think I've covered most ground. I think I've spoken quite a bit. Happy for other people to give some input, but yeah, it's been very informative. I've learned a lot from what's happening in Nigeria and Ghana, and Australia is a similar market, as I mentioned, in terms of exporting players. A lot of players aspirational, but yes, I think the important thing with players and agents, we both need to recognize, know how each other can work together and how each other can really be able to benefit from the relationship. And I think it all comes down to transparency in that relationship as well. So we have to be transparent with each other. Someone mentioned before about, is the player, why do they want to be a footballer? I mean, the agent also needs to explain to the player why they are an agent and why they can facilitate that player's career. Because sometimes all amongst this, we don't explain why we became agents, why we want to help players, how can we help players. We have the role, but we sometimes don't also expand on our motivation. Thank you, and thank you for this opportunity. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. I will only call on 3 people for reaction here because of our time. I will call on Eddie. Eddie, are you there? Eddie, Totti, and Barita Etsu.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for this.
A minute, please.
Yeah,
just a minute.
Yeah, okay. What I wanted to say is, my dream for African youth for us to be united, because at times some of the African teams also we are playing in our various countries or our local leagues also. There is a lot of protocol in there. And moreover, I'll encourage every African youth just to train hard, just to keep on pushing. Because, football is not a joke. Football is our life. So if any other African youth listen to me, what I need to tell him is he or she should never give up, because football is not a joke. So thank you very much. And I thank Mr. Michael for this offer. And also, I thank my brand, Train Like a Pro GH also. Thank you.
Thank you, Totti. Elsu.
Okay, quickly.
A minute, please.
Thank you for your comments. Yes, a minute. Thank you for your comments, Peter. And again, on what Timothy said, I absolutely agree. We should compare notes. We should look at how to move forward. For instance, Michael has more information about Totti. I don't know what position he plays, but I know that Peter leads a forum in Australia, which means there's a network of agents he can work with and clubs he can work with and possibly get him a deal. You need to understand when you're dealing with players, which Peter and Raffealle and Eddie spoke about, and even Arthur earlier on, that we need to understand the dynamics of a player. You can't take a player who is a slowpoke and take him to a very fast Chinese league or Asian league and expect him to survive. He'll struggle. So we need to look at the dynamics of the kind of players we're sending out to people. I also think that as agents, we should connect more. Our connections together will also open the avenues. I am interested in bringing an Australian player to Nigeria. There are several clubs who have shown interest to that. So why not? If not, we should look at the age of the player and what's his potential. And, it just improves the dynamics of our league. I know for sure that Aqua United and even Eimba look at that and they're very interested in such opportunities. I've spoken in depth with them. So let's not close our doors. Let's look to open our doors. We should also pray for better management in our club systems within Africa. It's actually a big problem. let's not say the whole of Africa. I think it's a West African problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Eddie, 1 minute.
All right, thank you. I just want to react to Mr. Timothy. Want to assure you that if that local coach has his documentation in place, he can aim even without registering on the FIFA TMS for now. Maybe he has a player's license, another documentation to prove that the player actually passed through his club. He can aim from training compensation and solidarity mechanism. As I speak to you, I'm currently working with a friend that is trying to secure some payment for some players that passed through them some time ago, and it's over 100,000 euro. You know what that means for a local coach, and that is reality because FIFA are placing some mechanism to see how everybody is compensated. And I'm glad that very soon they will introduce the centralized clearing system whereby all transfer fee will be paid through FIFA, and solidarity funds and other training compensation will be withdrawn from FIFA. So when the time comes that the claimant wants to lay claim, the payment will come up. Then for that aspect of that foundation, it will interest you to know that the player actually passed through me. But unfortunately, we didn't tighten the document enough that when he got to Europe, he just hinged up with one of my European colleagues here, and that was over for us. It's painful, but it's also a learning phase for us. We'll have to be tightening our document. We'll make sure we have all necessary document executed before we see the player blossom. So just with those things in place, your document as a local coach in place, you can aim from the solidarity mechanism set up by FIFA. Thank you.
Yeah, Icaro, 1 minute. Anyway.
Hello.
All right.
Yeah. I have to say less than a minute. I just want to say thank you, everybody. I've learned a lot from everybody. And the point I made earlier on, the person that called is from UK, Mr. Timothy also, he initially said there should be a way the coaches can gain before the FIFA transfer mechanism. I think he has a point there. So thank you, everybody. And it has been a great session.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Well, we have less than 30 minutes to run through the whole program. So let's quickly move to the next speaker. I will call on Oliver Atto from Ghana. 10 minutes.
Yeah, hello.
You're on.
Okay, good. So I think that initially I didn't know that I would have the 10 minutes, but all the same it's fine. Maybe that's why I started with all the what do you call deep discussion with my 2 minutes. But all the same, I can still go over. So what I'm saying is our model as an agency. We studied the market and we realized that it shouldn't be the same like what is being done in Europe because our culture is different. As Africans, our culture is different. Our way of thinking, our way of doing things is a bit different from what the Europeans do. So if we decide to go the same way as agency with what the Europeans are also doing, we end up failing. Because our players think differently and their way of doing things is different. Like I said, our aim is to start it from the youth. We don't go to the market and look for players who are already established. We start from the young players from the age of 16, bringing them up. And our main model is to develop and to serve these players. As an agency, our key role is to serve the players. Now, talking about the different model, I want to look at our cultural setups, our cultural setup. The African player has a different interest thought and lifestyle. It is very different from a player from Australia or a player from Italy. And we are different, and we don't want to try to live the life the same way that they do it. So, for example, I'm dealing with Nigeria because I have players in Nigeria because I had a very good, trusted people that I felt that I can deal with these people before I go into a market. I have a lot of people contacting me from Ivory Coast and the rest, but I don't have trusted agents there. So I wouldn't deal in that market because I don't know their lifestyle and the way they do things. Once you get into that market without knowing the culture of the people, you fail. It was strange for me for an European agent to deal with African players without partnering with an African agent, because you will not understand a lot of the things that the players do. And that is why a lot of the players go through life without being able to save and being able to do a lot of things back home because of the kind of agents they deal with, because the agents don't understand their culture. With Raffealle, my agency, our main role is to look at the player holistically, from his development up to the family and everything that has to do with the player in total. Their career development first, like I said, my main market is the Italian market, and we start with the young players from Italy and then try to develop them into other markets. So their career development is very key to us as an agency. When we get into the club with negotiation, we look at a long-term negotiation. We look at a long-term where the player can have a future with a particular club. That is how we look at it. Now, when a player signs with a club, for example, because it's from Nigeria, I want to use Nigeria examples, okay? So I signed Sodeke in AS Roma. He had a long contract of 5 years with AS Roma. So once he has a long contract from the youth department and try to develop into the senior team, he couldn't be able to break into the first team. So then you have to put him on loan. So once he has the contract, a 5-year contract with AS Roma, he goes on loan and still has AS Roma behind him in everything he does. So it makes it easy. We pick a player like Michael Dogo. We pick a player like who signed in Bologna. Same thing, 5-year contract. So they have Bologna behind them in every loan aspect that they move to. So this kind of negotiation helps the player. Same with Okonkwo Oji. Same. He goes with Bologna and has a 5-year contract. So when you have the main clubs, you sign a long contract and then you develop that. Now, a player that came in from Ghana talked about agents taking them to places that they are not. A lot of these players pay for their travels, and that is very wrong. I always say that any player that an agent comes to you and tell you, you have to pay for your visa fee, or you have to pay for your flight ticket, or you have to pay for anything, have second thought about that agent, because the agent is working to make some money out of the work that they do. So if they come and ask you, the player, to pay for part of the service, it means that it can be something fishy. So that is one sign that the players have to look at when they are dealing with this, like mentioned, quack agents. What we do as Hotel Legacy in terms of our service include, like I mentioned, we have partners with, because we are not experts in law, so we have partners with a law firm. We have partners with tax experts who handle these aspects of the players. We even have partners with a marketing company who does, especially the public relation and social media and all those. We contracted it to other aspects who does it. In my team, we have economics in my team. We have an ex-footballer in my team. We have a scout in my team. So it's a holistic thing, okay? Because as an individual agent, you cannot do all. So once you have other experts from different angles who helps your situation, it makes it very, very like a one-stop gap for all the players when they come to you. I can proudly say that all players who work with Data Legacy since 10 years ago, still stayed with the company because everything they need as players is at one place. And like I said, the cultural aspect is something key for us. For example, when a player, like somebody said, the African players come from very poor background. So a player starts to play, and the first thing is to look at the family back home. Because when the family back home is secured, it's okay, then the player is very relaxed to play his football. But when the player still have in mind that there's a problem at home, he needs to solve the problem at home, then it becomes a problem. One thing that I look at, especially with the players, is when I sign the contract with them, and my agency, we never sign players until we give them a contract in Europe. So if I have a player in Ghana and I manage that player, I manage you without signing a contract. I only sign a contract with you once you sign in Europe. So the day you sign for AC Milan, Roma, or Bologna, that's the same day you sign for our agency. Then that is where we know we have done a service, because our agency, our key thing is service to the player. So once we know we give the service, before we would also sign an agency contract with you. So all the players that we manage in Ghana, we don't have contract with them. If they think that we are not doing a good job, they can move to another agent. But we sign them because when we move them to Europe, that is where I call it the hawk agents, people who come and steal the players. So that is when it is important to sign the contract. In terms of their wealth management as agency, we're also very key with that their monies don't always stay with the players, because we try to open accounts where they don't have access to it every day of their lives. So those accounts are to secure them in terms of saving money with them. I talked in the first part also about discipline. And a player, we can discipline a player to the point where the player says, I don't want to stay with you, I want to go. And we don't keep players with our agency. If you think that our discipline doesn't match with how you want to behave, because a lot of very talented players have discipline issues. And if you come to our agency, we keep it very, very key. And if you are not able to go with our discipline, then you can walk off. Because we make sure that our work that we are doing, we let the players come to us. As an agency, no player chooses us as Raffealle Legacy, because we think that we need a kind of players that we can manage for a long term. We add other things to our agency to help the players in terms of, like I mentioned earlier on, even their vacation, even matters that they have with as little as their girlfriends, issues with their family, their siblings, schooling of their siblings, their young siblings back home in Africa. We see to all that we have people in Ghana who are taking care of that. So if the player is playing in Europe, you don't worry about your siblings in Ghana. What school are they going? How are their family? Because most of the families, the parents are not educated. So we come in there to help in all those aspects for the players. So our agency, like I said, as an agency, is holistic. And looking at our culture, we work with our culture. We don't just manage players and manage Ghana. So that is why we are dealing with Ghana. And once we have Nigerian partners, they will help us with the culture of how the Nigerians think. And then we work with them. And I think it's good I mentioned the people that I work in Nigeria. What do you call it? Daniel Shitu, who is a former footballer in Nigeria, and Kingston or Oleliran. I don't know whether you know him. He's an agent also in the UK. So they give us the culture and the thinking of the Nigerian players. And this helps us to be able to understand and work to suit how they think and how they do things. Because that is key. When you don't know how the people think, it is very difficult to satisfy their needs. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Let's quickly move to the last speaker, Barrister Emmanuel. 10 minutes. After that, we move to some reactions. Then I have 3 questions here to ask the speakers. Then we close for today. Barrister Emmanuel, over to you.
Okay, I don't plan to spend up to 10 minutes, but because a lot of people have spoken at length about the real issues. Here in Nigeria, we've had a peculiar situation. Let me start off with a story. We have a fringe national team player. His name is Uche Agbo. I watched a league match. He was then playing for what is called Taraba United. And I noticed this, just Taraba United. And I noticed this fluent midfielder, very, very solid. His passing was fantastic. And at the time I was consulting for defunct youth football club, Just University Teaching Hospital. So I recommended him to he and another striker. I can't remember that one's name now. I recommended him to the CMD, Chief Medical Director, Professor. He's now Professor Ishaya Pam. And he said, okay. So we sent out an invitation for these players to come and train with youth football club. Meanwhile, at the time I was working on a project with Coach Samson Siasia, who was then with, I think, Heartland, if I'm not mistaken. And so I went all the way to Owerri to see Coach Samson Siasia. And there was the young man I was supposed to be taken to Jos. So I asked, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be in Jos already. And he was like, oh, they came here for Samson to watch. Unfortunately, Samson is my friend, and I've told him this to his face. So I'm not gonna hide it. At that time, Samson was on his phone, not even looking at the football pitch, when this boy scored a scorcher, and he was dropped. So I told the boy, okay, since you want to stay here, fine. But if you're ready, head to Jos. I gave him transport money, and the two of them headed to Jos. It didn't take until mid-season before they finalized his signing. Meanwhile, the man who owned his rights, his economic rights, who lived in Kano, I drove all the way to Kano, secured that, and came back and secured his contractual signing. His very first game was against Eimba in Jos, and he scored a 30-yard screamer. It made Eimba to pay attention. Eimba lost that game 3-0 in Jos. At the end of the season, when Youth was relegated, he was the man of the match against Eimba. His clothes were stripped off his back, and immediately they started negotiating for him. But at that point, we were negotiating for that boy to move to Tottenham Hotspurs. Because of that young man, Harry Redknapp lost his job. Because of the funny, about 3 other agents came up. And I said, look, we have our documentations intact. This is the person with the economic rights. The only thing is that his passport tells me he's a minor. So I cannot go further without his parental consent. At the time, I was preparing another academy to travel, which unfortunately filtered away. So I couldn't make that trip to Kano myself. So I sent him to Kano, and he went and got another agent to sign that I can manage him outside Nigeria, but not within Nigeria. And I laughed, and I said, okay, fine, you're free to go. I told the youth football club that if you're making this change, if you're going to do this deal with Eimba, it should be a 60-40. You retain 60, they take 40. Then don't look for too much money, because we're still chasing down this deal with Harry Redknapp to take this boy to England. Now Harry Redknapp said, okay, this boy has not even played the national team, so we're going to have challenges. So they will send him to a sister club in Belgium. And that was where it ended. A couple years down the line, he plays for the junior national team, and he gets an opportunity for a trial in Italy. He came home briefly in December, waiting for the window, got back, and they were sending him back home when he called me and said, Oga, help me. And I called my bosses, then Jeff Littlefield's son. I said, Gary, you're in Italy. You know the club. Go to this club and secure this boy's deal. He said, he's not working with us. I said, yes. It only proves our integrity to the player and to other players across the nation. And he did. The agent who did that, secured Uche's first deal, is a Cameroonian. The Cameroonian sent money to him. I said, I'm not doing this for money. Please take your money. The Uche came back and said, he's giving me money. I said, if you're donating it to the orphanage I run, fine. But I'm not interested in your money. You are not working with me. He said, but we're the ones who secured the deal. I said, okay, then go and give it to Gary and Jeff. So that's how bad it can get here in Africa, because even the players don't have integrity. For me, the only thing I have is my name, and I protect that with my life. So I tell players that when you're working with somebody, be open with the person, tell the person everything. And if another agent comes up to you, be open with that man and tell him, I have an offer. He will tell you, take it, don't take it. I have a player playing for Aqua United. He brought an offer to him, and I looked at it and I told him, this is a dot document. So anyway, follow it up. You're free to go. I'm not going to hold you, but I'm planning for something. We have a plan to get him to Turkey. So the player went off, and they started asking him, of course, as the fraudsters would do. He called me up this weekend and said, you're right, sir. I'm sorry I didn't take your thinking to heart. And I said, look, I want your future secured. So I work with players and try to secure their future even from here. And they're very simple investments you can do for players. I have a financial manager who takes care of bulk funds for me. Because of my retirement benefits from Al Samad in Dubai, I have some money, so I also use it as a slush fund for players. It helps these players to have something when they finish. So a player is playing in the Nigerian league and I tell him, just give me 50,000 monthly for 6 months. We put it into a bulk sum and we put it and run it in the Forex market for you. We also carry that fund and put it into other funds that are available that we're sure are not going to filter away your security. And we don't work in the market carelessly. We have several people doing that job. Now, once that is done, we know that we are securing the player's financial state, even while he's playing here in Nigeria. The next thing we do is we start looking at the kind of player we have in our hands. How can we get that player to his next level? That's what counts. I will not pay a bribe to any coach. Several coaches have asked for bribes at the national team level. I tell them, you can eat your heart out. This player doesn't have to play in the national team. You can quote me on this. Most of the players that are making it in Europe from Nigeria played in our national teams, and most of them didn't play in our league. We need to fix our league if we want to see quality players coming out of Nigeria. Every time I walk on the streets, I see better players off the league table than on the league. So let's tell ourselves some truth as Nigerians. The quality we're looking for is outside the league. The quality the European market is looking for is outside the league. Bring them in, harness their skills, train them properly, and send them out. Finally, so that I don't take up more than the time I was given, I'd like to say this. If we have Peter here, Ekong, I remember playing a couple matches against him before he left, and several other agents are sitting here today. If we come together, we can make this change. We can make the difference. I mean, let's not be afraid to deal with each other. Let's open up, and we will see the best coming out of Africa. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Barrister. Let's get some reactions from the audience. If you have anything to say, 30 seconds each, you can just raise your hand and we talk.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, Ekon.
Yes, hi, everybody. Good to see all of you. It's a pleasure, and also thanks for a program like this. It's actually, my name is Prince Ekon, ex-Super Eagle, with the special grace of God, been played abroad for 22 years in my professional career, the most traveled Nigerian player in history with a special grace. And so that's enough an experience and a knowledge that I think is helping a lot of young players today. And today I work with quite some clubs in Scandinavian for scouting and also I help players as a mental coach. When I listen to all of you, I'm very, I would say, is a rosy advices you've given, and it's key point to football management when you talk about this modern football and what is going on in football these days. But I really want to stress a little bit on grassroots matters. You see, because we expect a lot from players, especially from grassroots coaches. We need to have it in mind that when you raising a grassroots development, FIFA grassroots development is not necessarily to make money out of the player. Is to develop young people to and football. When we talk about football in grassroots develops player character-wise, develop them to build their discipline, also to take away obesity, and also to prepare them socially in the future. So grassroots is not necessarily to make money. So as a coach, because I hear a coach saying that they take players from them and then nothing comes back to them. So if you actually want to make money out of these players, I think what you should do, you should focus on the chairman or your boss of your team to give you return when there's a compensation being paid. But as a coach, when it comes to official dealings, you are not supposed to be making money from a player. And so that mentality, we also have to deal with that mentality, try to raise player in grassroots and not be raising player and expecting the player to, I'm raising you and you must be able to take care of me in the future. Of course, that is necessary, but we should not make that official because it's not legal. It's not legal. And also, thank you for the contribution for everyone for dealing with the player. I think seminars have to be done. Agent, when you deal with players, sit down with the player, explain the contract to the player, and immediately when you sign a player, immediately let the player have a lecture. Let the player have a lecture for that moment. Let him have a lecture for that period and educate the player for expectation, for future occurrences, for challenges, and etc., etc. And I think with that, gradually, the player will be able to know what to expect. There's a lot to say, but let me not just take my time. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ekong and Ex International. Well, before I take another reaction, I want to quickly ask this question from, okay, Kelechi, a minute, please.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Kelechi. I'm the president of Right to Win Sports Academy here in Abia State. Well, where I want to come in specifically is on some of the issues we are facing with agents in Europe, especially when they come to Africa to take some of these our players. Because I know from experience, they do some of these things deliberately. You find a situation where agents go behind your back to advise your own players to go against you. This is a player, maybe you bring in the player when he was 12, 13. You train the player in the academy, you put a lot of resources. Sometimes they end up denying you what you're supposed to earn from the player. Sometimes they force you to terminate contract with the player, and when you refuse, it happens to be a big issue with the family back home here in Africa. They do all sorts of these things. They deny you training compensation from the player. They force you to send in documents saying you will not demand for training compensation. And I think this is an area with the new reforms that FIFA are trying to make by bringing in the player clearinghouse to be able to address some of these issues, because some of us back home in Africa, these are things we have been suffering for years, and we think FIFA should really, really be serious to crack down on some of these European clubs who are fond of doing this to African clubs and academies. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other person there? Anyway, let me quickly ask this question. Peter, Mr. Peter, how do governments see football in your country?
How do governments see football in our country?
Yeah.
The government, in terms of recently, I would say the government's now very favourable for football because of two reasons. One is we've just, with New Zealand, they're going to host the Women's World Cup, and our women's team is top 6, top 7 in the world, which means investment, which means profile, which means branding, which means player development, which means infrastructure. That's the first thing. Second thing is, in Australia, although we have a lot of other football, we have rugby, Australian football, 2 forms of rugby, we have nearly 2 million players in this country that are playing football. So in terms of demographics, in terms of a number of young players and people interested in football, the government sees that as a major factor in terms of investment in infrastructure, in assisting clubs and leagues. I think Australia's very unique because we're in Asia. We have a lot of European influence, but then we're also a very multicultural country. And recently, I think I mentioned that a lot of African players who've migrated from Guinea, from Ivory Coast, from Burundi, have really progressed into our professional game, which is just a reflection of our society and a reflection of the country. And I think in terms of the government, it's taking a lot of notice of football because football is also, and my final point here, is an ambassador for the country as well. And especially in Asia where everyone understands football, but also Europe, Australia can use its football as to promote itself and promote its people and promote its culture and the country itself. So I think on football in developing the game. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Then question 2. In your own opinion, what are the 3 characteristics of a good agent?
What are the, sorry, I missed that point.
In your own opinion, what are the 3 characteristics of a good agent?
The good characteristics of a good agent,
Yes.
Reputation, experience and examples of deals that they've done. A good agent keeps informed the player. So basically he's always updating him or her what's happening in the clubs, in the markets, in terms of budgets with clubs. So always being informative. A good agent's also a sounding board. So when the player has issues, family, club, coach, they can always trust and fall back for advice on the agent. And finally, it's about having a clean, trustworthy, I would say, reputation, not just with the players, but with the clubs, with other agents, and with other stakeholders. I would say they're the 4 or 5 important characteristics.
Lastly, what are the 3 things that players should be aware of before signing a contract with a football agent?
The 3 things players should be aware is obviously, as I mentioned before, reputation and track record of the agent. Have they delivered deals? Which markets they deal with, and which players they've advised? So very important that the background of the agent, that's very important. Secondly, the knowledge of the agent. Do they know the regulations? Not just in Australia, not just in Nigeria, not just in Ghana, but it was mentioned before, the RSTP. Going to certain countries, what are the rules? How do you deal with, visas, immigration, collective bargaining agreements, transfers, sell-on clauses, etc. So knowledge. And basically the final one really is, I would say that players also need to be aware that the agent is basically supporting their interests. They're in their courts. They're not playing games. They're not trying to do things behind with the club or with the coach. That conflicts of interest are declared and there's no risks of transparency being compromised. So I think those 3 are very important.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. Yeah, let's see if there is reaction from the audience. Any reaction? Yeah, in the absence of reactions, let me go to Atom. Atom, how do government of Ghana, how do the government see football?
This is in Africa. This is a difficult one there. We've all been always pushing and asking for government involvement, but I think government concentration has always been on the national teams, which, in my opinion, is very wrong. But you know, I think like in Africa, everything is mostly politicized because they want results. And African countries are not mostly, or Ghana, are mostly interested in the grassroots development, which is the basis, which is the main thing. Because now I can't say government has invest in any academy or invest in any grassroots, or even has tax rebate for people who do grassroots development. For me, it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge in Africa, and something that they shouldn't concentrate on the national teams, but they should also look at the grassroots development. But it's all on the national team, and that is a big challenge, a big problem for African football development.
Thank you. Eddie, how do Nigerian government, how do they see football?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, all once again. Unfortunately, in our dear country, Nigeria, our government has not really seen the business side of football. Football in the European market and other Asia, Australia, and the rest is an avenue to increase the GDP of the country, talking about the earnings. Also, instead of concentration on oil revenue alone, sports and football and sports in general can also generate some GDP, positive GDP to the economy of the country. But fortunately, we really have not taken that aspect. That is why we say lag behind. Like for instance, in Nigeria, the major challenge we are having is in the aspect of infrastructure. Most of our stadium, they are not good. You see the players when they play on this pitch, they will complain, and before you see, they have issues with their knees, with their heel. You know, it's terrible, because for you to really enjoy good football, you need the playing surface. And the only aspect I wish our government officials are listening now, and I hope this message gets to them, is their investment in infrastructure. They should forego about the ownership of football club. Let them just put the infrastructure in place and maybe lease this facility to some of these private clubs. Let them run a football club and see how they can run it for business. Because in Nigeria, for example, some of these clubs, football clubs, majorly all our clubs, let me say those that are in top tier, about 90 to 95% are owned by the government. And people that are placed in there to run these clubs, they are politicians. You don't elect them, they don't have any vision, they don't have any goals. What they have is the target, the amount they stand to aim for their tenure, for the period they will have this patronage from government. You can see, for instance, a club that is built to play in the Nigeria Professional Football League, maybe the EMAC is setting amount for winning bonus. Before the team will go on that trip for the winning bonus, the club chairman, the general manager will pocket the bonus that accrue to them, irrespective of the outcome of the game. Then the main artists, which are the players, the coaches that we run on that pitch, they will be denied their money, maybe if the game really turn out well. And we see series of issue of high case of indebtedness to players. You know, there's no motivation. That's why you see a player, because it will be owed several months of wages, he would rather go and play in Papua New Guinea and be assured that he will be paid €200 a month, and that is certain. So for me, we still have challenges in our regulations. We have challenges, just as some messages that were posted on the chat during this section. There is the absence of the National Dispute Resolution Chambers and other chambers that can take care of judicial system that can take care of disputes in Nigeria. So for me, I want to say, for now, Nigeria have not taken football as business. They are taking it as a charity organization. It's just for some of us that are agents, we've seen that, okay, there's a business, there is an opportunity for us to have some earning from it. That is why we're pursuing the business end of it. Like for the government of Nigeria, they still have not taken advantage of the earnings that can accrue from football. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Finally, let me ask you, in your own opinion, Eddie, what are the 3 characteristics of a good agent?
Peter have actually said them. A good agent.
That's his own opinion. That's his own opinion.
Okay.
In your own opinion.
All right. Reputation is very key. Reputation is very key. You should have integrity. An agent should be someone of very high integrity, so that whoever that makes a background check on you, it should be certain that he's working with someone that is truthful. So whatever, when you say A here, when someone finds out tomorrow that that is B, you have lost your relevance. I actually, when I started this business, I think it started out of the passion I have for footballers, because I saw that they were passing through a lot and they were looking for someone to speak for them. So that is what actually drove me into this business. And I actually took some people as mentor. I took some people as role model. But fortunately, along the line, I lost them because I found out that there are people that lack integrity. You can imagine an agent that we criminally convert earnings of a footballer to his personal use and will not give to that footballer. That makes my heart bleed. So integrity is very key. Then secondly, you must be someone that is well connected. Network is very key in this business. Just as we are discussing now, I'm already thinking about some players I will propose to Peter in Australia to see how they can start their career. So network, an agent that is networked, it has good network, is very, very key. Then lastly, which is not the least, you must be someone that is always developing yourself. You must be grounded. You need to be researching. You need to be a step ahead of others. You need to be reading books. You need to, whatever things that come as I relate to regulations in your locality, and if at all you want to work with a player in another country, you need to know the regulation and their rules that are guiding them in that particular place. And also, you need to be vast in knowledge gathering. There are a lot of resources online, in YouTube and the rest. Just gather a lot, and by the time you put them together, you go a long way. That is where synergy comes in. And that is also, this development and research also relates to networking, because if I network with Oliver in Ghana, I know there are things we can share together and make my agency a better one. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Eddie. Henry. Ovie, Henry. 30 seconds.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Adney. Although I joined a bit late, but I've heard Ekong saying the coaches in the grassroots shouldn't pay emphasis on making money from their young players they are building up, except just, giving them drills, putting them through all the nitty-gritty of becoming a good player. And at the end of the day, I want to ask, based on this emphasis and this statement, what happened to the coaches at the grassroots? Because if you say some coaches complain of getting their players away from them, and they should not even think about talking about the monetary gains they have to get at the end of the day when the players eventually become big players. What happened to such coaches?
I can speak to the country. I can speak. I think you got me wrong there. I said the coaches should not focus. The coaches, what they should do, you see, is professionalism. What you do as a grassroots force is to develop the players. Developing players is character-wise, making them become a better person in life, social-wise and everything. And when it comes to the money part, don't begin to show face, and it has hindered a lot of coaches. Don't begin to show face as a coach wanting to get money. Discuss with your team chairman, and you get a compensation. There's what we call compensation fee to an academy, and that compensation fee, coaches should get commission in it. So don't always show face. And you can see people like Coach Siasia is having problem today because he's a coach and at the same time wants to manage a player, and that's why you get into problem. And sometimes not knowing these things can get you into problem. So
excuse me, what in the case
hold on.
Happens to be the one that owns it. This
Ovie, I think your network is breaking.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Ovie, sorry.
We're talking of Nigeria. Nigeria are basically Nigeria. And basically, most of the grassroots teams, academy in Nigeria, are owned by the same coaches. Okay. If you say the coaches should not, pay emphasis, they have invested a lot, bringing up such young players.
You are not doing. Then you are not following the law. You're not following the law. So you're already beating the law. So that's why I tell you that do things legally. Do things legally, because we are trying to clear quack people that are doing things illegal in this business, and so we are clearing them off. So do things legally.
What is the legal way? I want to know, because
the legal way is as a coach. You're not supposed to be earning money from players. So the legal way, you can't have a team and be a coach at the same time.
Who pays the coach? Who pays him?
This is the discussion for next time. Because of time.
So you can see. So the coach who
it's
holds the team, trains the player, brings them up. And nobody pays him.
The problem is that when they try to educate people, when they try to educate people, they refuse to be educated.
Hello,
Michael.
So please let us not see from the different. You are now better. You are overseas now. It doesn't mean you were not brought up from the same system.
I was brought up. I'm telling you, I'm helping a lot of coaches today. I help them to succeed. I help them to achieve, but I'm letting them to achieve it in a legal way. That's why programs like this is helping you.
Apostle,
thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ovie.
I want to respond to Ovie, sir.
30 seconds, please.
I need to respond to Ovie. Ovie, you want to secure your players. Simple thing. You can connect with Iseri. You can connect with Apostle Michael. You can connect with myself here. Sir, you can register your entire team on the TSM. That's the first way you protect yourself and your players.
Legally.
Once you have registered your players legally, all the players that come into your academy. In fact, I know for a fact that on the plateau, for instance, every academy that exists on the plateau, I designed the form, the certificate that was given, because it was actually a written document they were just signing. And I told them that's not possible. We need to have, sorry, somebody is speaking. We need to have.
Don't forget, as a coach, you cannot own a team. This is very important, and we need to know these things. These coaches don't know these things, and they are, because of ignorance, it's causing them problem. So they need to be educated, please.
Sorry, sir. I understand. You see, the dynamics here is that.
Well, I understand you. If coaches don't own a team, if coaches don't own a team, who dare? Because in Nigeria, nobody cares. They prefer to spend their money on parties and things like that. We have played football too. I came through the same thing.
Sorry.
And nobody.
This is a discussion for another time. Thank you, Mr. Eri. Thank you, Mr. Ekon.
Sorry, sir.
One moment. I need to leave now. Sorry, guys. I need to leave. Sir. Thank you so much.
Hold on, Mr. Ekon. Hold on. Just 5 minutes. Hold on.
One moment, sir. For me, there are a lot of young agents who are sitting here with us right now. Yes. I don't like to talk about reputation, because reputation is built over time. Okay, so I tell them, work hard. Let the players you work with understand that you are not working just for your income, but for their destinies. That's what I look out for as an agent. Next thing, we should create more networks. Why we're struggling in Africa is that we've not built a network. Again, my brother Eddie said the government has failed. The truth is, those who are at the helm of affairs have only been thinking about their pockets and not about the system. So it's not that the government has failed per se, it's that those who are supposed to push the narrative have failed us. Let me give an example. Over the last 2 years, we haven't, we need to clarify this because we can't say that the government has not done the effort. In fact, the law is almost enacted at the National Assembly.
Okay, you can take it as a party word. Take it as a party word.
I'm taking my parting words.
Yeah.
The 8th Assembly had almost signed off the act, the Football Act, because we've been working under a decree in Nigeria, which affects how corporate Nigeria can work with football, the football family. So we have a dynamic change to make. As a lawyer, I have gotten clubs to look at the tax man as their friend and get corporate Nigeria to give them tax leeways so that they have fundings to do the things right. So whether we like it or not, as agents, it behoves on us to change the system. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Ato, your parting word, 60 seconds.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on now.
Hello, am I clear? Okay, so I wanted to comment on the just a little conflict that transpired right now. Okay, what I want to say is Prince is right that they register their players and everything. But the other thing you have to also know, which I started with, is let's look at the culture. Okay, let's not only go with what the FIFA rules say strictly. Okay, you and I know that in Africa, these coaches who are developing these players, they are the people who try to manage the clubs where there is no help, where the boys in a village where there's no help, in a village where they don't even understand the whole thing. So as agents, once you pick these players, try and look at culture setup, how the country is set up, how the system is set up. Even though FIFA laws might say A, B, C, D, I think that when you look at the cultural setup, you are able to help these coaches. You are able to go their way a little bit before you even pick the player. If you see the player is not in the TMS, try and let them put it in the TMS. And also, if players are not in the TMS and they are transferred out, personally, I have part of the money that I come back to the people that went on the player. Sometimes the club managers might take all the money, but they are coaches who train these players. It's true. The club managers are supposed to pay them. Well, what if they don't pay them? So as agents, you have to try and make sure that your system trickles down to all these people. And then any money that you make, you try to trickle down because our culture asks for that.
Otto,
so my passing word is
the problem is not the money we give. The problem is the education, because like you're saying, trust me, I'm helping a lot of group coaches. I'm rescuing them. But the problem is that we need to make seminars and educate these coaches, because otherwise, what will happen? They are going to put themselves in problems and they will go to jail. And it's happening to a lot of coaches right now because we're not dealing with it, and it's causing a lot of problems. So education is a key. Knowledge is very important, and that's the emphasis here. It's not what we do today, because I don't need to tell you what I've done to coaches. I don't need to come tell you I've given this to coaches, but I'm saying that our grassroots coaches need to understand that you cannot own a team. That's the emphasis, and we need to deal with that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, that before you move the player, you need to educate them. I mentioned that you need to educate them. The right things has to be done. Okay, the right things has to be done. But our culture, and Prince, you have to know this. There's a village in Nigeria, very typical village. You cannot have somebody building up a team. The person who builds the team is the coach, is the team manager, is everything. That is our culture. That is what it is. Okay, so you have to understand that. Don't bring it totally Europe into Africa. It doesn't work. Okay, so totality doesn't work. They have to be educated, yes. But looking at our setup, it doesn't work totally. You understand? It doesn't work totally. Yeah, that is all I want to make. But in my ending, Michael, I want to say thank you very much for bringing all of us. Thank you for this. It's educative. Like Prince is saying, we need to educate ourselves. We need to help ourselves to build up and also to work as a team together, always to help the players. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. I'm in a hurry. I need to leave. Thank you so much. It's good talking to you all. Cheers. Thank you. God bless you all.
Yeah, thank you, Ikpe. Bye-bye. Echoing. Oh, great, hallelujah. Please,
so thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Peter, your
Appreciate
parting
it.
word.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Eddie, your parting word.
Wow, I never knew we just ran over 2 hours plus. Thank you. For the education, I just want to say, just for a few minutes, platforms like this, opportunities like this are made available for coaches to come and learn. But unfortunately, they shy away. This is a very good platform to learn and to know more about some of all these things. So I will employ some of the coaches here. Please tell your fellows when they see adverts like this, let them come in, ask questions, and get more educated. Thank you.
Your parting word.
Apostle Michael, God bless you for setting this up. And let's do more sessions that are more interactive. Maybe the first 10 minutes or 10, 15 minutes, we speak and then allow people to interact with us. That way we'll be able to teach further. God bless you, sir. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. Kelechi, 30 seconds.
Hello. Okay. I want to thank the organizers of this seminar for bringing us together for us to have another interactive session. Personally, I learn a lot each time we have this sort of program. And I will also advise that we should be having more of this program often, rather than maybe having a stretch of days. We should be having it often so that we can also discuss about growing grassroots football and football generally in Nigeria. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I really want to appreciate everyone, most especially our guests from Australia, Mr. Peter, Oliver from Ghana, Raf from Italy, Barrister Etsu from Plateau State, Nigeria, Eddie from Delta State in Nigeria, our brother from Ghana, Totti is a player from Ghana, and every FIAM member, Football Intermediaries Association of Nigeria, who participated in this seminar. I appreciate you all. And to everyone, EI, I cited you, Seb Galaxy, Pius, DNS Sports, Joshua, Bamidele, Ovie, yes, local dear Fred, and every other person that have been there since the start of the program. I appreciate you all. You can contact me through all the social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You search for my name, Michael Sodeke. You see me, you connect with me. My mobile number, WhatsApp, 070-680-54498. You can connect with me, then we are good to go. We can do business. Football is business. You have to spread the money you earn in football. Don't eat it alone. Spread it so that there won't be problem in future. Thank you, everyone. Let's appreciate ourselves by clapping our hand together, putting our hands together for ourselves. It's been a wonderful session. Thank you all. Thank you all. And I believe when we call you the other time, you will like to be a part of our show. Thank you once again. God bless you. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. You too.
Very much.